Right now, there is a completely invisible version of you sitting in a room somewhere.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's making deals, it's losing clients, it's answering questions, it's shaping opinions about you.
Right, yeah.
And the crazy part is you have absolutely no control over what it's saying.
It's terrifying when you think about
It
it.
really is, because that invisible version of you, it's your digital footprint, and it walked
Yeah.
into the room long before your actual physical presence ever does.
I like to call it the ultimate invisible handshake.
Ooh, that's a good way to put it.
Because for a modern business, that digital handshake is happening thousands of times a day. And it's completely out of their direct line of sight.
Yeah, you don't even know it's happening.
Exactly. I
Yes.
mean, a potential customer searches your name, a neat little box pops up on their screen, and in roughly like 3 seconds, they make a permanent decision about your trustworthiness.
Which brings us to the mission for today's deep dive.
Yes, let's get into it.
We have this really comprehensive 2025 guide from Digifix. They're an online reputation management agency based down in Melbourne.
Right, a great source for this.
Yeah. And our goal today is to explore the profound and honestly often hidden benefits of actively managing that invisible version of you.
Because you really can't afford to ignore it anymore.
No, you can't. We're going to look at the actual science and the strategy behind how professional services work. We'll be using Digifix's methodologies as our lens today to see how they help businesses not just survive, but actively thrive.
In an ecosystem where literally a single comment can make or break a brand.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Mm.
Because in the past, if you wanted to know if a brand or, say, a local business was reliable, public opinion was pretty much dictated by a local newspaper article.
Right, or just word of mouth.
Exactly. You just asked your neighbor over the fence.
Yeah, the classic neighbor recommendation.
But today, Google reviews, social media posts, or even just like a random comment on an obscure thread, those have become the ultimate, indisputable arbiters of truth.
What's fascinating here is the psychological shift.
How so?
Well, we have essentially outsourced our trust to complete strangers on the internet.
Wow. Yeah, we really have.
First impressions are no longer formed face-to-face.
Yeah.
They are formed on a search engine results page.
Right.
When you type in a business name, whatever auto-populates right there on page one, that is their new reality.
Good or bad?
Exactly. Good or bad. And online reputation management, or ORM, is basically the systematic process of tracking and shaping that reality.
And it bypasses traditional media completely.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, you don't need a news anchor to report on a bad customer experience for it to go viral. You just need an algorithm to decide it drives engagement.
Yeah, the algorithm is the new editor-in-chief.
For sure. The guide actually uses this brilliant example that I think illustrates this perfectly. They call it the local coffee shop test.
Oh, I love this example.
It's so relatable. So imagine you're in a new neighborhood, you want a latte, and you pull out your phone.
Like we all do.
Right. And there are two coffee shops right next to each other on the map. One has a 4.8-star rating,
Nice.
and the snippets of reviews below it, they're praising the cozy atmosphere, the friendly barista, all that good stuff.
That's perfect.
But the other one, literally right next door, has 3.2 stars.
Ooh, that's rough.
And the bolded text highlights complaints about rude service and burnt espresso.
And the thing is, the consumer doesn't even walk to the storefront to investigate.
No, of course not.
They don't cross-reference the 3.2-star rating to see if maybe, I don't know, those reviewers were just having a bad day.
Or if it was a fake review.
Right. The choice is just instantaneous.
They don't even click on the 3.2-star shop's website.
No, they're already walking to the 4.8-star shop.
To me, that is like a company's online reputation acting as a digital storefront window.
That's a great analogy.
Like if someone walks down the street and sees a smashed window, which is basically what a glaring one-star review is, they won't step inside to check if the sweaters are nice.
Right, they just keep walking.
The transaction is dead before it even starts. But it goes deeper than just that one lost customer, doesn't it?
It does. It cascades.
Yeah.
Because search engine algorithms are constantly watching that behavior.
Okay, so they're tracking the clicks.
Exactly. When hundreds of people search for coffee in that neighborhood,
Yeah.
look at the 3.2-star shop and immediately click away to the 4.8-star shop, Google's algorithm takes notes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it registers that the 3.2-star shop is a poor result for its users. So the next week, that shop doesn't just look bad. It actually drops lower in the search rankings.
It essentially becomes invisible.
Precisely. It vanishes.
So the psychological choice translates directly into hard algorithmic data. That is the hidden ROI of feedback.
Right. Return on investment isn't just about ads anymore.
No, it's not just about human hurt feelings either. It's about search visibility, which directly equals revenue.
Yeah.
The source material brings up a hotel example that illustrates how this loop works in the positive direction, too.
Oh, yeah, the hotel example. So a hotel with consistently strong recent reviews on platforms like Google and TripAdvisor, they are essentially feeding the algorithm exactly what it wants.
Which is proof that people actually like the place.
Right, proof of relevance and quality. And the algorithm rewards that hotel by pushing it to the very top of the search results for hotels near me.
Which means more eyeballs.
Exactly. More visibility means more bookings. More bookings lead to more guests who hopefully leave more positive reviews.
It's a compounding revenue engine.
It really is. Once it gets going, it's powerful.
But the guide also highlights a strategy for handling the negative side of things, and I found this fascinating. It revolves around building loyalty through complaints.
Yes, the service recovery paradox.
Yeah. They use a delayed shipping example. So imagine a customer leaves a really angry, very public review because their package was late.
We've all seen those.
A lot of businesses might just ignore it or maybe delete it or even get defensive in the comments.
Which is the worst thing you can do.
Right. But if the company responds promptly, apologizes publicly, explains the logistical hiccup, and offers a discount for a future purchase, the dynamic completely flips.
It's incredible how effective that is.
The source actually cites a 2023 Khoros report with a statistic that honestly blew my mind.
The 83% one.
Yes. 83% of customers feel more loyal to brands that resolve complaints than to brands that never had a problem in the first place.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, that is known as the service recovery paradox. It's a very well-documented psychological phenomenon.
It just sounds so backwards at first.
It does, but think about what a consumer's actually looking for when they read reviews. They aren't looking for perfection. They're looking for a safety net.
Oh, a safety net. I like that.
Yeah, they want to know what happens when things inevitably go wrong.
Let me push back on this for a second, though.
Sure.
Because it still feels a little counterintuitive. Are we actually saying that a one-star review can be a good thing? Like, should a business owner be sitting around hoping someone complains so they can show off their awesome customer service?
Well, no, not hoping for it, definitely not. But leveraging it when it inevitably happens.
Okay, leveraging it.
Yeah. Because a perfectly pristine record, like 5 stars across the board, thousands of reviews, not a single complaint, it actually starts to trigger a modern consumer's internal spam filter.
Oh, because it looks artificial.
Exactly.
Okay.
Looks totally fake.
Yeah.
People know that shipping delays happen, the food gets cold, that the mistakes just occur.
Right, we're all human.
So when a potential buyer sees a 1-star review followed by a professional, empathetic, and most importantly, public resolution, it validates that there are real, accountable humans behind the brand.
So you have basically transformed a liability into a public audition for your customer service.
That's exactly what it is.
That makes total sense. You're proving the safety net exists. And we actually see this play out on a massive scale with the guide's crisis management example.
The food delivery app.
Yes, the food delivery app. So they had a delayed rollout of a new feature, which resulted in the app basically crashing during the dinner rush.
Which is a nightmare scenario for them.
Total nightmare. They were facing just an absolute avalanche of online backlash.
And, the instinct for a tech company in that scenario is almost always to go radio silent.
Yeah, just hunker down.
Right. Lock the social media accounts, don't say anything, and just wait for the engineers to fix the code.
But they did the opposite. They issued a public statement immediately, they explained the technical failure completely, transparently, and they offered broad compensation to all the affected users.
This is a very smart move.
By stepping into the narrative rather than hiding from it, they stopped a momentary glitch from cementing itself as a permanent narrative about their reliability.
Which brings up the actual mechanics of how you pull that off.
Right.
Because understanding the theory behind online reputation is easy, right? But the operational reality of controlling a massive, chaotic, digital narrative, that's a completely different beast.
It's not just checking your Yelp page once a week.
Not at all. How does a brand actually execute this on a daily basis?
Right, because you don't just wake up and magically know there is a crisis.
No.
Let's look at how professional agencies structure this rather than just, listing out services. It really follows the chronological journey of a PR crisis.
Okay, walk me through it.
The very first step is essentially installing smoke alarms. The guide calls this monitoring. You have to know the fire is happening before you can put it out.
That makes sense.
This means utilizing software that pings you the second your brand is mentioned on Twitter, a blog, or a review site.
But an alert just tells you there is smoke.
Right.
The immediate next step is analysis, which is where you actually diagnose the fire. You have to break down that incoming chatter into sentiment, tone, and topic.
Wait, hold on. Break that down for me.
Sure.
Because tone and sentiment sound like, the exact same thing to me. How does a piece of software know the difference? And how does it know if a customer is genuinely furious or just being sarcastic?
It is a really great distinction to make. So sentiment analysis uses natural language processing to categorize the feedback into very basic binary buckets, like positive, negative, or neutral.
Okay, so it's looking for broad keywords.
Exactly. Tone analysis, though, is much more sophisticated. It is looking at the emotional intensity and the context.
Give me an example of that.
Well, for example, a customer might write, "Oh, great, my flight is delayed again. Best airline ever."
Ah, okay, so a basic sentiment tool sees great and best and flags it as a positive review.
Exactly. It completely misses the point. But a sophisticated tone analysis tool reads the syntax, it reads the punctuation, and it catches the phrase "delayed again" to recognize the sarcasm.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it correctly flags it as a highly negative, very frustrated emotion. And then the final piece of the diagnosis is topic. You need to know the specific theme of the anger.
The guide uses a hotel discovering through this exact kind of analysis that almost all of their negative sentiment specifically clusters around the topic of slow room service.
Right.
So once you aggregate that data, the problem is no longer a mystery. The hotel owner doesn't have a bad hotel reputation. They have a kitchen staffing problem between the hours of 7 a.m. and 9 a.m.
Which suddenly makes the feedback actionable.
Right.
You fix the kitchen schedule, the room service speeds up, and the negative reviews just naturally stop.
But what about the bad reviews that are already out there?
Good question. That moves us into the proactive phase, which is review management and content creation.
This is where you grab the fire extinguisher.
Yeah, exactly.
You aren't just sitting back waiting for people to review you anymore. You are actively building a system to collect positive reviews from happy customers on platforms like Google and Yelp.
You have to ask for them.
And simultaneously, you are creating entirely new content. Press releases, thought leadership blogs, positive news stories. You're doing this to actively shape the image you want out there.
You are basically crowding out the noise with your own narrative.
You also have to look for the fire hazards before they ignite, which is where audits come in.
Right, finding the blind spots.
Exactly. This is about finding your digital blind spots. Like, a clothing retailer might run a comprehensive audit and discover that their social media response time to customer questions is averaging 14 hours.
Ouch.
Right. While their main competitor averages 30 minutes.
If I am a customer waiting 14 hours for an answer about a return policy, I am sitting there feeling completely ignored, and I'm brewing up a terrible review.
Definitely. Fixing that lag time is preventative reputation management.
Yeah, you stop the fire before it starts.
But let's talk about when things get truly heavy. The final stages the guide outlines are crisis management and legal support.
This is for when the threat goes way beyond just a disgruntled customer.
Like what?
Well, the guide references a food brand dealing with an active product recall.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's huge.
In that scenario, you need official, legally sound statements crafted immediately. You have to engage with panicked customers across every single social platform, but without inadvertently admitting the wrong kind of liability.
That sounds incredibly stressful. And sometimes the threats are entirely fabricated, too.
Oh, yeah. Happens all the time.
The legal aspect of ORM is fascinating because businesses regularly face coordinated attacks, defamatory content, or a flood of fake one-star reviews orchestrated by a competitor who's just trying to tank their local search rankings.
And a standard customer service rep cannot handle a coordinated defamation campaign.
No, they wouldn't even know where to start.
You need legal experts who understand the terms of service for Google or Yelp intimately. They know how to subpoena IP addresses to prove a review farm is targeting you.
That's intense.
Or they know how to legally compel a platform to remove outright misinformation that violates their own community guidelines.
Listening to the sheer scale of this, the AI sentiment tracking, the rapid response content creation, the legal takedowns, it becomes painfully obvious that managing this is way beyond the scope of a standard business owner.
Oh, without a doubt.
You cannot be managing inventory, running payroll, and simultaneously issuing legal cease and desists for a fake Yelp review.
Which is precisely the use case for specialized agencies like Digifix.
Yeah.
When you dive into the solutions they outline in their 2025 guide, it operates like a masterclass in outsourcing this complexity. Instead of a business owner randomly checking Facebook on their lunch break, an agency provides comprehensive digital armor.
So what does this all mean? Like, let's look at how an agency actually executes these strategies, starting with review and social media management.
Okay.
The guide details how they don't just passively wash your accounts. They integrate software that triggers an automated, polite request for a review the very moment a customer completes a successful purchase or appointment.
The psychology there is vital.
Why is that?
Because a furious customer is highly motivated, right?
Yeah.
They will climb over broken glass to leave a one-star review.
Yeah, they want the world to know they're mad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But a thrilled customer, they usually just smile and go about their day. They don't think to leave a review.
So true.
So an agency removes the friction for the happy customer. They actively coax those positive, silent experiences into the public square to balance the scales.
But the tactic I found truly brilliant is their approach to suppressing negative content.
Reverse SEO.
Yes, because let's be honest, you can't always legally force a platform to take down a bad review or negative news article just because you don't like it.
No, you can't.
If it's technically true or if it's protected opinion, it stays up. So how does an agency deal with that?
Like I said, they utilize advanced SEO suppression, sometimes called reverse SEO. They don't try to hack Google to delete the article.
Right.
Instead, they exploit how the algorithm values authority and freshness.
Walk me through the actual mechanism of that. How do you push a damaging, maybe a 5-year-old news article from page 1 of Google down to page 3, where it effectively ceases to exist?
Well, you build a fortress of positive, highly optimized digital assets.
No fortress.
Yes. The agency will create high-authority LinkedIn profiles. They'll publish industry-specific Medium articles, secure positive press in high-ranking digital magazines, and they syndicate press releases.
Okay, so just a flood of good stuff.
Right. And all of these new assets are heavily optimized for the brand's name. Because these new pieces of content are fresh, highly relevant, and structurally sound, Google's algorithm decides that they are the most valuable results for the user.
Oh, I see.
So as these new positive assets naturally rise to the top of page 1, the old negative article is forced down the ladder.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Exactly.
Because statistically, almost nobody clicks through to page 2 or 3 of a Google search anyway.
Barely anyone.
And for brands that have already taken a massive reputational hit, like maybe a viral scandal or a massive wave of bad press, the guide outlines long-term reputation repair and restoration.
Which takes time.
Yeah, they build 12 to 18-month management plans to systematically rebuild trust, utilizing everything we've talked about to turn what they call setbacks into comebacks.
It is a systemic rehabilitation of a brand's digital identity.
So at what point does a founder or a marketing director look at their laptop and realize, okay, I am out of my depth. I need an agency like Digifix to take the wheel?
This raises an important question, and it's really the dividing line between amateur community management and professional brand protection.
Okay.
When negative sentiment is localized to a single unhappy customer, that is a customer service issue.
Right, you just handle it.
You reply, you apologize, you offer a refund. But when that negative sentiment begins impacting your search engine visibility...
When it hits the bottom line.
Exactly. When you can trace a measurable drop in foot traffic or online revenue to an outdated article or a coordinated review attack, it has metamorphosed into a structural business threat.
Because a polite reply on a Facebook thread is not going to fix a structural algorithmic penalty.
No, it won't even make a dent.
You need professional SEO suppression, you need legal mechanisms, and you need a systemic content strategy.
Exactly. You have to treat your digital reputation as an actual asset on your balance sheet, because the market certainly does.
To recap the journey we've been on today, we explored how the internet took local word of mouth and basically handed it a global megaphone, making search results the ultimate first impression.
It really changed everything.
It did. And we broke down the mechanics of the service recovery paradox, showing why resolving a complaint can actually build 83% more loyalty.
Which is still my favorite stat.
It's a great one. We also looked under the hood of sentiment and tone analysis to see how software diagnoses a crisis. And finally, we examined how professional agencies use tactics like reverse SEO and legal intervention to build a fortress around a brand's digital identity.
It is a continuous evolving science.
Yeah.
The internet never stops refreshing, which means reputation management never truly sleeps.
It is a living, breathing thing. But here's where it gets really interesting.
Because of the sheer permanence of search engines, your digital reputation is effectively immortal.
It really is.
It precedes you into every room, every meeting, and every transaction, long before you even know a potential customer, partner, or employer exists.
So true.
Ask yourself, if someone searched for you or your business right now, who's actually writing your story? Is it you intentionally shaping the narrative? Or is it a total stranger who just happened to be having a bad day 3 years ago?
That is a heavy but absolutely essential question to leave on. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Take a few minutes today to do a proactive, honest search of your own digital footprint and see exactly what walks into the room before you do. We'll see you next time.